Hi, welcome back to Wavra Farms and Nursery. Today is the first quiet day here. We don't have the rain pounding on the roof. We've had quite the rain showers coming through, so I thought we'd continue our filming. And today, just for kicks, let's talk about some like it wet. So we've had this wet spell. A lot of our yards are just kind of swampy messes right now. And it's really easy to assess what is drying out faster. Some of our higher spots, they're not going to be dry, but at least they're going to have no standing water. So now is a great time to kind of assess where the water puddles in our yards and what can we plant there to alleviate some of those problems. So today I thought we'd start with some of the perennials for shade. So these are shade plants that like it wet. So the first one I'm going to talk about, which is one that is hard to find, is our yellow wax bells. Now, yellow wax bells have these gorgeous maple-like leaves on them, and they're going to go about 48 inches tall, and they're going to bloom these gorgeous yellow bell-shaped flowers later on in the season. So this is one that can actually go right along the edge of a boggy spot, along the edge of a pond, and it's going to thrive with its feet in water or in constantly wet soil. Of course, we do have our grasses, so who doesn't love the forest grass? Gorgeous bright yellow foliage. This isn't one that's going to want its feet standing in water, but it does prefer the front of a shade border that's going to be damp. That's what helps to keep it so lush and the golden foliage. Now, an easier one than the forest grass is going to, of course, be the sweet flag grass. Now, sweet flag grass does not mind if it stands a little bit in water. It likes its feet wet, and it does have the yellow foliage as well. It seems to be a little easier to keep alive and looking this gorgeous color. Forest grass is a little more temperamental. You really have to make sure you stay on top of the moisture. The next one I thought we'd talk about is our leopard plant. Now, this leopard plant that we have here does not have any spots on the leaves. It's mainly for this beautiful sculpted-like texture. It is still just emerging, so we've got some new foliage coming up that's a lighter silver color edged in the pinks. And later in the summer, it is going to get a beautiful yellow like daisy on it. This is one that can be submerged in the pond, the edge of the water, and really help to soak up some of that excess moisture. So no shade garden is often complete without astilbes. Astilbes have this ferny-like foliage, and then they bloom. So what you're seeing on these right now are the buds. Out of these buds is going to come a beautiful ferny, lacy foliage, almost feathery in texture. Now, astilbes are often found in like woodland gardens, but they often compete with larger trees for moisture. So it's one of those things that you want to make sure that you can put in a wet spot or somewhere you're going to come along with a hose all the time. Hence why I'm telling you, now is the perfect time to check and see if you have a wetter spot. This would be very happy in those areas. Along with wet spots, we also have the dinosaur food plant, the gunnera. Now, this is the larger one, and it has these gorgeous soft thorns on them. As I can see, you can touch them. This loves standing water or a very wet spot. This also needs a big area to grow in, as each of these leaves is going to go about 4 foot across. So quite a large plant, something you're going to want to put a little farther out in the landscape. And the whole plant is going to go about 8 foot tall and wide. So lovely plant to soak up some extra water. Now, ligularias in shade and sun gardens are often very lovely. I have a fellow here, which is the darker one. It's going to send up a yellow daisy-like flower. It will take more sun, but with the dark foliage, it's really hard to keep it looking good unless it's standing in the water with the black foliage. We also have the rocket here, which is going to send up a yellow spike covered in gorgeous yellow blooms. Both of these plants have gorgeous heart-shaped leaves, and they are quite lovely all summer long. One of the last ones for us to talk about today is a little ground cover called chameleon. Now, chameleon is one of those that can stand in water. In fact, I've put it in a bird bath before and filled it with water. And it has a beautiful citrus-like smell. It is also one that's going to run and kind of take over an area. So do make sure that you have a larger area to put this, or somewhere that you just want a large ground cover. As you can see, we have lots of plants here at Wavra Farms, and these are just a few of our many different ones that like it wet. Thanks for watching, and happy gardening.